On a morning just like any other, you gaze into the mirror, a familiar question haunting your reflection. Why this recurring pattern? You've mastered the art of fresh starts, igniting your spirit with fiery passion, ascending to touch the clouds. Yet, an inevitable descent always follows. Centuries ago, the astute Arab scholar Ibn Khaldun observed this very phenomenon. He recognized that history isn't random, it adheres to an unmistakable life cycle, akin to a star's birth, brilliance, and eventual fade. Ibn Khaldun outlined this cyclical journey: group solidarity, then triumph, followed by governance, leading to luxury, then corruption, and finally collapse. This framework sadly mirrors the trajectory of your own life. You begin with fervent enthusiasm, achieve significant victories, and reach the pinnacle of success. But then a moment of repose descends, a tranquil pause where you tell yourself, I've earned a little indulgence. It's here that the subtle erosion begins, an internal decay of will culminating in a resounding fall. However, a profounder truth exists, one not explicitly detailed in Ibn Khaldun's Muqaddimah, but evident in the daily exchange with your own reflection. The cyclical nature of your successes and failures isn't a predetermined fate, it's a profound message. It's an encoded whisper from your innermost being, etched in the exhaustion, emptiness, and anguish you feel. Your weary soul persistently cries out, You have betrayed yourself. But how? Recall that quiet voice that once offered guidance, suggesting, This isn't your true path. Remember that vague unease that hinted your pursuits were driven by external expectations, not genuine desire. Each instance you silenced that voice, each time you buried that intuition beneath layers of excuses, you incrementally compromise your authentic self. As Ibn Khaldun astutely noted, man is a creature of his habits, not his inherent nature. This self-betrayal has quietly woven itself into the fabric of your life, yet your body remembers, your spirit retains the truth. When your actions diverge from your true essence, this recurring breakdown, this cycle of rise and fall is the inevitable outcome. The core issue isn't a lack of knowledge on how to succeed, it's that your successes lead you astray. You're meticulously constructing a palace on shifting sands, on ground that isn't truly yours. So, as you meet those tired eyes in the mirror, ask yourself, are you ready to break this cycle? Are you prepared to finally heed the voice of truth you suppressed for so long? Because this pervasive pain, this profound exhaustion, this persistent feeling of emptiness despite your achievements isn't a punishment. It's an urgent invitation. An invitation to reclaim your authentic self, to return to your core essence, to embrace who you truly are. Think of Ibn Khaldun's ancient tale of the Bedouin tribe, emerging from the desert with powerful solidarity and unwavering resolve. They forged a mighty kingdom. But with settlement, comfort, and the taste of luxury, a subtle weakness permeated their spirit. Eventually, they succumbed to another tribe, one still fueled by the raw solidarity they had forsaken. This, for Ibn Khaldun, was the historical rhythm, and sadly, it mirrors your own life's cadence. Yet, a crucial insight escapes many who study Ibn Khaldun. This cycle isn't merely external. It unfolds within you first, in your spirit, your intentions, the unspoken vows you made and then forgot. The initial revelation is this: your downfall didn't begin the moment everything vanished. It started in that small, almost forgotten instant when, perhaps unconsciously, you swapped your genuine dream for a seemingly safer, more acceptable, more assured path to success. That tiny decision flung open the door to self-betrayal. I can't truly pursue my desires. This other way is more logical. People won't grasp my vision, so I'll meet their expectations. No time for dreams, let's be pragmatic. Do you remember uttering such words for the first time? Ibn Khaldun suggested that a soul aligned with its original innate disposition finds embracing goodness simpler and more immediate. Everything else is foreign. But when self-betrayal becomes habitual, it morphs into a new innate disposition. So, it's no surprise if you find yourself consistently losing everything. Understand this: you didn't fail because you lacked the blueprint for success. You failed because your very success was a disguised loss. Those dark circles beneath your eyes, that soul-deep weariness despite your accomplishments, that pervasive emptiness amidst all your gains. These were the whispers of truth, silenced by a relentless pursuit of more achievement, more hurried actions, more clamor. What logic couldn't convey. Your body communicated through cryptic signals, chronic headaches, restless nights, sudden bouts of anxiety. All were subtle warnings. You are off course. Reorient yourself. Your initial revelation lies in grasping this. Your decline wasn't sudden. It was a gradual erosion, each step leading you further from your authentic self. Ibn Khaldun taught us that change is never abrupt, but incremental. Your fall, too, was a slow descent, marked by small concessions, by consistently prioritizing others' approval over your own, by uttering yes externally while your heart silently screamed no. And what Ibn Khaldun termed luxury, in the grand cycle of civilizations, manifests in your personal life as that moment you begin to believe your own fabrications, convincing yourself that your current actions align with your true desires, rationalizing compromises, mastering the art of self-deception. And no, nah. But open doors, for as Ibn Khaldun affirmed, humanity is inherently social, meaning a person is only complete when they are true to their nature, when their existence is authentic. And now, armed with this initial revelation, I ask you, do you feel that faint tremor? It's the resonant echo of truth within your depths affirming, yes, this is what I've been trying to convey all along. A silent conflict rages within you, a battle between who you authentically are and who you believe you should be. This struggle isn't recent. It's the culmination of years of accumulating unspoken messages, idealized images absorbed, and countless directives dictating what success entails and what you must pursue. Ibn Khaldun, in his Muqaddimah, explored urbanization and how humans, inherently social beings, cannot exist in isolation. Yet this communal existence, this sense of belonging, carries a cost, a gradual relinquishment of one's original nature in favor of what he termed craft or industry. For Ibn Khaldun, craft wasn't merely a skill, it encompassed all learned customs, ideas, and values that deviated from one's inherent disposition. When this craft eclipses the natural disposition, an internal schism occurs. This is where your hidden struggle began, between your innate self, which knows your true identity, and the learned craft, absorbed from societal expectations and imposed ideals. The reason for your perpetual exhaustion, you fight this internal battle relentlessly. Each day, each hour, each moment, you attempt to silence your innate self with more achievements, more external validation, more certificates of approval. But no matter your efforts, that faint voice persists. This is not me. This is not my path. Ibn Khaldun posited that external actions reflect internal states. If your inner world is fragmented, your outer world will mirror that division. This explains the recurring pattern of temporary success followed by decline. It's a reflection of the covert war between who you truly are and who you strive to convince yourself you are. For a time, you might effectively suppress your innate voice, immersing yourself in work and accomplishments, achieving external markers of success. But your inherent nature never truly dies. It simply waits, patiently. And when the clamor subsides, when a moment of quiet arises, it reemerges stronger, clearer, more insistent. You are living a borrowed life. You are chasing goals that aren't yours. You are measuring success by metrics that don't align with you. In that moment, the ground beneath you begins to tremble. Everything you've built starts to fracture, simply because it wasn't founded on genuine truth, but on illusions, expectations, and borrowed identities. This hidden conflict is the root cause of your past failures. Not a lack of skill, intelligence, or fortune, but a relentless battle against yourself. As Ibn Khaldun observed in his study of civilizations, any kingdom divided against itself is destined to fall. You are an internal kingdom, divided within. But let me share a surprising thought. This hidden battle might be the greatest gift you'll ever receive. Despite the pain it inflicts, it proves your innate disposition is still vibrant, that your authentic self endures, waiting, resisting, refusing to yield to pretense and falsehood. Those days of profound exhaustion, those nights of sudden wakefulness with a racing heart, that feeling of emptiness amidst accomplishments. These are all signals from that true self proclaiming, I am here, I haven't vanished. I am waiting for you. The hidden struggle isn't between success and failure, as you might perceive it. It's a struggle between authenticity and artifice, between genuine existence and mere performance. The pivotal question now is, which side will you choose in this ongoing battle? In every civilization Ibn Khaldun analyzed, there arrived a defining moment, a choice to rejuvenate from within or surrender to decay, awaiting eventual replacement. My friend, you stand at that very juncture. You are at a crossroads, poised between continuing a familiar pattern of superficial success leading to inevitable decline and forging an entirely new path, one rooted in authenticity, not pretense. Yet, this pivotal shift isn't necessarily a dramatic turning point. It may not coincide with a major collapse or an overt crisis. More often, this transformation quietly emerges in a moment of profound stillness, a pause where you confront your reflection and muse. What if? What if I stopped running in the wrong direction? What if I finally heeded my heart instead of external expectations? What if I allowed myself to return to my inherent nature? Ibn Khaldun emphasized that true change originates internally, not externally. Civilizations that successfully revitalized themselves were those that rediscovered their fundamental values, their original group cohesion. Similarly, your genuine transformation won't stem from a new job, a new relationship, or a new achievement. Instead, it will arise from reconnecting with your authentic self, your core values, and what genuinely ignites your spirit. Here lies the profound paradox. This journey back to self is not a retreat, but a bold leap forward. It's not a regression, but the most significant advancement you'll ever make. Let me ask you, when was the last time you truly felt like you? Not the polished version striving to please everyone, not the ambitious self-chasing external validation, but simply, spontaneously, and honestly you. Perhaps it was in a distant childhood memory, or a fleeting moment of pure joy when you were fully present, forgetting everything else. Or perhaps in a moment of profound creativity, where time seemed to dissolve and you felt completely immersed. That moment, however small or distant, is the seed, the starting point for your journey back to yourself. Why does this return seem so daunting, so fear-inducing? Because, as Ibn Khaldun would say, you become enslaved by your habits, not guided by your nature. You become enmeshed in acquired routines, patterns, and identities, to the point where you've forgotten your true essence. The fear, the hesitation, the internal resistance you feel now are the voices of those ingrained habits, unwilling to relinquish their hold. But understand this. Fear isn't always a sign of the wrong path. Often, it signals you're precisely on the right one. The true turning point arrives when you decide to advance despite that fear, when you tell yourself, yes, I'm afraid. Yes, there's immense uncertainty. But I will move forward anyway, because to remain stagnant is to suffer a slow spiritual death. Ibn Khaldun taught us that change is the universe's sole constant. Everything shifts, transforms, cycles. Fortunate are those who can direct this change rather than becoming its victim. This is precisely what you do at the turning point. You seize the reins, choosing to be the master of your life's transformation, not its captive. So, are you ready to take this leap? Are you ready to become, once more, who you truly are, whatever the cost? Ibn Khaldun was a visionary, linking the body's condition to the states of the soul and spirit in his Muqaddimah. He explained how temperament, or physical state, influences character, behavior, and even the rise of civilizations. This leads to a crucial, often overlooked truth. Your body is your primary confidant. It holds all the truths you evade, all the emotions you suppress, all the messages you refuse to hear. That persistent headache, the tightness in your chest, a perpetually unsettled stomach, chronic back pain, sleepless nights, these are your body's encrypted messages signaling something is amiss. You are living against your true nature, against your authentic self. Ibn Khaldun stated, repetition becomes a habit, then a nature. This applies directly to you. You repeatedly betrayed yourself, so much so that it became a habit, then a second nature, obscuring your original essence. But your body hasn't forgotten. It knows, and it communicates daily through these signals. When you awaken feeling a strange weight on your chest, as if a stone presses down, or a sudden inexplicable urge to weep, This is your emotional body crying out, "Listen to me. I carry your truth." In his theory of human civilization, Ibn Khaldun detailed how luxury, a byproduct of success and stability, corrupts morality and eventually leads to decline. What he didn't fully elaborate is that this corruption begins internally, in a person's relationship with themselves, in their disconnect from their authentic self. And this disconnect first manifests in the body before anywhere else. Observe your body now. Take a deep breath and pinpoint where tension resides, where you feel knots, heaviness, constriction, or pain. These, these stressed areas in your body are repositories of suppressed emotions, places where you buried every instance of self-betrayal, every time you said yes when you yearned to say no, every smile masking a bleeding heart. Ibn Khaldun noted, all pain stems from undertaking what is unnatural. This precisely describes your suffering, pursuing what isn't your nature, living a life that isn't yours, chasing success that isn't truly yours. Now, a secret that could alter everything. Your body isn't merely a reservoir of pain, it's also the key to healing. This very body, bearing the memories of your self-betrayal, also contains the map leading you back to yourself. When you begin to listen to your body, to feel those buried emotions rather than suppressing them, allowing yourself to cry when tears are needed, to express anger when anger is called for, to grieve when grief is present, only then does the true healing journey commence. Ibn Khaldun taught that civilizations don't vanish suddenly. They slowly perish by severing ties with their origins, with the initial group cohesion that founded them. Similarly, the human spirit dies slowly by detaching from its truth, from its original innate disposition. Yet, there's always an opportunity for return, for revival, for renewal. The first step is acknowledging your pain, not as an adversary to conquer, but as a friend bearing a priceless message. Return to yourself, return to your truth, return to who you originally are. Your emotional body is your gateway to healing, and all those aches, pains, and heavy feelings aren't enemies to discard, but keys that will unlock the correct door. Ibn Khaldun asserted, if the soul is on its original innate disposition, its readiness for good is complete. This primordial nature still resides within you, beneath layers of artifice, pretense, and show, and your body will guide you back to it. In his exploration of human civilization, Ibn Khaldun highlighted the profound impact of the surrounding environment on human character, morality, and even thought processes. Desert dwellers, he noted, embodied courage, independence, and simplicity, while urbanites leaned towards comfort, ease, and complexity. Just as geographical surroundings shape individuals and civilizations, so too do the social, cultural, and emotional environments influence your spirit. P. This environment of the soul is often overlooked, yet it can be the most critical factor in determining our destiny. Let's reflect. Who are the people dominating your time? What ideas do you consume daily? What conversations define your life? What images, words, and music fill your inner and outer worlds? All these elements converge to form your soul's environment. If this environment is toxic, it's no surprise you feel spiritual contamination, chronic fatigue, or inner emptiness. Ibn Khaldun stated, man is a creature of his habits and familiarities, not his nature and temperament. The most impactful habits are often those we fail to notice, the company we keep, the atmospheres we immerse ourselves in, the narratives we allow to shape our perception of the world and ourselves. Do you realize that a primary reason for your repeated setbacks is your attempt to thrive in an environment that actively opposes your soul's true nature? Perhaps you wonder what that implies. Simply put, you strive for success while surrounded by those who don't grasp your true self, or worse, those who prefer you not to be your authentic self. You are trying to grow in barren soil, to flourish in a spiritual climate that clashes with your innate disposition. Why the persistent weariness? Your soul expends immense energy attempting to adapt to an unsuitable environment. As Ibn Khaldun observed, if a characteristic becomes firmly established in the soul, it becomes like an ingrained trait or an unchangeable color. This might have happened to you. The habit of adapting to what doesn't suit you, of accepting what doesn't align with you, of existing in an environment where you don't truly belong, has become an integral part of you, like an unalterable trait or color. Yet hope resides in another truth, Ibn Khaldun articulated. Nature triumphs over artifice when they converge, and nature asserts its dominance. This means your original innate disposition, your true nature, can reemerge if provided the right environment. See, so how do you cultivate a spiritual environment that nurtures your truth? First, courageously confront yourself. Who in your life compels you to feign authenticity? Who makes you feel you must be a version other than your true self? It might be difficult to acknowledge that some close individuals, perhaps family or lifelong friends, contribute to a toxic spiritual environment for you. But this acknowledgement is vital for healing. While severing ties may be impossible or undesirable, you can certainly alter the dynamics of your interactions. Establish boundaries. Shield your inner space from their detrimental influence. Second, actively seek out individuals who allow you to feel liberated and secure in your true identity. These are the people with whom your facade drops, allowing you to breathe deeply, to feel truly at home. Third, critically assess the content you consume. What books do you read? What shows do you watch? What websites do you visit? What ideas do you permit into your mind and spirit? Ibn Khaldun recounted how nomadic tribes degenerated upon settling in cities, exposed to a radically different lifestyle. Similarly, your soul can be corrupted by immersing itself in ideas, images, and narratives that conflict with its original innate disposition. Fourth, carve out moments for silence and introspection. Create opportunities to listen to your heart's voice, far from the world's din. This silent space is your laboratory for self-discovery, where you uncover your true self, unburdened by external influences. Ibn Khaldun warned that heedlessness and forgetfulness greatly impact the neglect of the soul's functions. When you drown in routine, urban noise, and the competitive rush of achievement, you forget who you truly are. This forgetfulness marks the onset of decline. Finally, the ultimate step in reshaping your spiritual environment is to consciously choose the story you narrate about yourself. What story are you currently embodying? Is it the victim's tale, the tormented hero's saga, the perfectionist's quest, or the eternal rebel's narrative? This story is intrinsic to your soul's environment, and altering it may be the most crucial step towards changing your destiny. Remember our initial discussion. The problem wasn't your inability to succeed, but your success in the wrong direction. Now, the picture is clearer. You weren't failing at success. You were attempting to thrive in a spiritual environment that clashed with your true nature. It's like trying to cultivate a desert plant in a rainforest. No wonder you feel exhausted. No wonder your achievements ultimately crumble, regardless of their magnitude. But here's the good news. You can transform this environment. You can create a spiritual space that resonates with your true nature. And perhaps for the first time, you can succeed authentically, without exhaustion, without self-betrayal, without the painful fall that awaited you at the culmination of every cycle. Ibn Khaldun discussed the concept of group cohesion, asabiya, that intrinsic power uniting people towards a shared objective, the primal energy propelling civilizations to rise and flourish. At its core, asabiya is an internal fire, an authentic zeal, a profound sense of identity and purpose. Just as civilizations require this cohesion to emerge and prosper, you too need your inner flame to live an authentic life. But the pressing question is, where did your inner fire go? Where did that initial enthusiasm vanish, that genuine passion, that pure energy you once possessed? Ibn Khaldun asserted that civilizations begin their decline when they lose their original asabiya, when the internal fire that first ignited their ascent extinguishes. Similarly, you began to decline when you allowed your inner flame to dim, when you replaced your true passion with a counterfeit, when your motivations began to stem from external sources, from the admiration of others, from societal norms, from imposed ideals of success, rather than from within. The real tragedy is this: your inner fire never truly extinguished. It remains there, beneath layers of ash, beneath years of pretense, adaptation, and fear. It is still there, waiting for someone to reawaken it. But over time, layers of ash accumulated, the ash of repeated disappointments, of deferred dreams, of unsaid words, of suppressed emotions, of ignored truths. Ibn Khaldun stated that a soul aligned with its innate disposition is more receptive to good due to its natural simplicity. This simplicity isn't about shallowness, but rather purity, authenticity, and freedom from artificial complexities. Your inner fire was originally pristine. You engaged in what you loved simply because you loved it. You enjoyed what sparked your curiosity without questioning its utility or material gain. You felt unadulterated joy when expressing your innate talents, no matter how insignificant they seemed to others. Then, the world began to tell you this was impractical, a waste of time, without a future, unsuitable for you. Gradually, you started believing these voices, burying your inner fire under layers of logic, rationality, and realism. You began replacing your genuine passion with one more acceptable, more profitable, more respectable. But the original fire never dies. It merely retreats, waits. Sometimes it flickers into existence in fleeting moments, in that pang of nostalgia for something undefinable, in that recurring dream, in that tear that falls inexplicably when a certain song plays or words resonate. Ibn Khaldun noted how declining civilizations could reclaim their glory by returning to the original group cohesion upon which they were built. Similarly, you can regain your strength and vitality by returning to your original inner fire. So, how do you reclaim this fire? First, you must admit its loss. This is not an easy step, as it demands acknowledging that you betrayed yourself, that you spent years, perhaps decades, pursuing the wrong path. Yet, this acknowledgement is the dawn of freedom. Second, seek traces of this fire in your life. What ignited your enthusiasm in childhood? What activities made you lose track of time? When did you feel fully alive, completely present, connected to yourself and the world? These memories aren't mere nostalgia, they are a map leading you to your inner fire. Third, begin clearing away the layers of ash. Honestly scrutinize every belief, conviction, and idea you hold about success, value, and meaning. Examine their origin. Did they arise from within, from your deep sense of purpose and desire? Or did they come from external sources, from others' expectations, societal pressures, imposed notions of success? Fourth, be prepared for sacrifice. Rekindling your inner fire isn't easy. It may mean relinquishing certain material comforts, false security, or illusory safety. It might involve confronting your deepest fear, the fear of being truly yourself in a world that demands conformity. Ibn Khaldun taught that civilizations perish when they prioritize comfort over vitality, security over freedom, stagnation over evolution. Souls, too, wither when they choose pretense over truth, superficiality over essence, others' approval over self-acceptance. Fifth, and finally, understand that awakening your inner fire isn't a singular event but a daily practice. It's a choice you make every day, every hour, every moment. The choice to be your true self, to live from your heart, to make decisions from a place of authenticity, not fear. Ibn Khaldun stated, "When heedlessness prevails in hearts, they suffer deprivation and veiling proportionally. When alertness prevails, they gain light and enlightenment proportionally." This means your heart, and thus your inner fire, brightens and glows in proportion to the attention, care, and awareness you grant it. You might wonder if it's truly possible to rekindle that inner fire after all this time, after years of self-estrangement, living in shadows, pretending, adapting, and fearing. I tell you, yes. Not only can it be restored, but it never actually left. It resides within you now, at this very moment, simply waiting for someone to clear its layers of ash, to provide it with oxygen, to allow it to reignite. As Ibn Khaldun said, the conditions of the world are not constant. Rather, they vary with days and time, shifting from one state to another. Your current state isn't an inescapable fate, it's merely a phase in a larger cycle. And your inner fire is the key to your transition from a state of loss to clarity, from falsehood to truth, from a slow spiritual death to a full, vibrant life. When Ibn Khaldun composed his magnificent Muqaddimah, he offered more than an analysis of history and civilizations. He presented a map for humanity itself, the journey each of us undertakes from birth to death, from unconsciousness to awareness, from separation to connection. The cycle of group cohesion, then triumph, then governance, then luxury, then corruption, then fall, is not predetermined. It can be broken. Its trajectory can be altered. But this change doesn't originate externally, it springs from within. Today, in this precise moment, you stand at a crossroads. You can choose to perpetuate the old cycle, a cycle of false success and inevitable decline, or you can choose an entirely new path, one of returning to yourself, returning to truth, returning to authenticity. This path is not easy. It will demand a courage you didn't know you possessed. It will require you to confront your deepest fears, the fear of rejection, of failure, of inadequacy, of living unmasked in a world full of facades. It will require you to face the truth of your self-betrayal, not as a punishment, but as a fresh beginning. Ibn Khaldun noted that God Almighty, when he wills the destruction or reform of a nation, turns its conditions upside down. The period of falsehood in your life, the one ruled by illusions, pretense, and artifice, may be nearing its end. Your body knows it. Your soul recognizes it. This is why you feel exhaustion, emptiness, and disappointment. But this is not the end. It is the beginning, the dawn of truth, the return to who you authentically are. So, be the one to initiate this transformation. Be the one who chooses change. Be the one who shatters the old cycle and establishes a new one, a cycle that begins and ends with truth. Because ultimately, as Ibn Khaldun declared, man is a child of nature at times and a child of habits at other times. Choose to be a child of your nature, not your habits and limitations. Choose to finally be you.